Shields up, Ironbreakers. Yesterday we had an announcement of a brand new game called Fellowship, and from what I've been hearing about this game, this actually might be right up my alley. I haven't really watched the announcement trailer just yet, so I'm going to be watching it, reacting in real time, and basically giving you guys my thoughts and opinions on everything that is shown. So let's go ahead and get things started. Okay, stylized art style.
We're very excited to finally get...
That looked straight up like a night elf. Like, this almost looks like a night elf straight out of World of Warcraft. I like the art style. Looks cool. Let's see some more.
We're very excited to finally get to show Fellowship
Game
to the
director
world,
and
a
CEO.
game that we've been working on for a long time.
Okay, so if this dude is both the game director as well as the CEO, this means that this is probably going to be a somewhat small team. Because usually these are roles that are separated from my experience. It's not often that you have someone be both the game director and the CEO, because usually medium to larger size development studios, you know, the CEO is going to be busy with a lot of stuff. He's not going to be able to be directing a game as well.
Finally get to show Fellowship to the world, a game that we've been working on for a long time.
Okay.
A few years ago, we founded Chief Rebel, an independent studio located in Stockholm, Sweden. We've put together an incredible experienced team that have worked on games like Diablo, the Just Cause series, Battlefield, Helldivers, The Division, World of
That is very
Warcraft,
diverse.
and a bunch of other huge titles over the years.
I can definitely see the World of Warcraft influences. I can definitely feel those.
Studio, we like to call Fellowship a multiplayer online dungeon adventure. A
Okay.
MODA, if you will. It's a game
MODA.
that celebrates our favorite endgame activity, where you will gather a bunch of friends in a group of 4 and go out and do dungeons together. And these dungeons are going to be full of enemies with their own unique abilities and tricks and strategies that you need to figure out. And of course, bosses, providing their own unique challenges that you will need.
Dungeons is like my favorite thing to do in MMOs. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite things to do in World of Warcraft is actually Mythic Plus. Even though I haven't played World of Warcraft in a while, I'm not sure if I'm going to be diving into the new expansion or not. Probably not. But, you know, the dungeon experience and the Mythic Plus stuff, that is actually my jam.
Strategies that you need to figure out. And of course, bosses, providing their own unique challenges that you will need to work together with your team to overcome. And when you do...
This actually reminds me a little bit of Wayfinder, which is actually a really fun game. If you guys haven't checked it out, I have a bunch of videos on it in the channel.
There's loot to be had.
Okay.
With Fellowship, we are taking inspiration from a number of types of games that we love. So there's a bit of action RPG in here, there's a bit of MOBA, and there's a bit of MMO as well.
MOBA? MMO?
You can jump into the endgame content straight away, and you don't have to spend hours and hours grinding just to get to the fun stuff. When you first log in, you will pick your hero, join up with your friends or find a group, and queue into a dungeon. As you level up, you'll also unlock new talents, set bonuses, and relics that provide new facets and depth to your chosen hero. As you complete dungeons, you gain access to higher difficulties. As the difficulty increases, the enemies become a lot harder, and the rewards you receive become more powerful.
So it's
The
Mythic
core
Plus.
of Fellowship is this endgame MMO-style dungeon experience. You can jump straight from dungeon to dungeon.
They have a DPS meter. Built-in DPS meter. Oh man, this is gonna get toxic so fast. I can't wait. You already know it's gonna happen, right? Like you're sitting in there, because this is usually what happens in World of Warcraft. Like when somebody's not dealing enough damage, people is like, "Oh my god, you suck at this game! Uninstall!" I can't wait. But it is necessary to have a DPS meter, because from what I'm hearing, they're saying like, "Oh, this is gonna be scaling difficulty." In order for you to actually progress, people are gonna have to perform.
This endgame MMO-style dungeon experience. You can jump straight from dungeon to dungeon, and you will get all the progression, rewards, and everything that you need from within that content. There are 2 types of dungeons that players will...
Wait, I need to listen to that again. Come again?
Enemies become a lot harder, and the rewards you receive become more powerful. The core of Fellowship is this endgame MMO-style dungeon experience. You
Okay.
can jump straight from dungeon to dungeon, and you will get all the progression, rewards, and everything that you need from within that content.
Okay,
There are
so
two
you get
types
everything
of
from the
dungeons that
dungeons.
players will take on: adventure and ranked.
Adventure dungeons are doing everything we know and love from our ranked dungeon format. But
Adventure
we
and
want to take
ranked,
that
okay.
experience and distill it down to 10 to 15 minute bite-sized experiences. Ranked dungeons is what this genre offers best. This is our opportunity to provide a core experience to our seasoned veterans of this genre, to compete against each other on our leaderboards, to overcome impossible odds.
So they're going straight up for a competitive mode, which is going to be kind of like I'm imagining like the MDI, which for those who don't know, it's the Mythic Mythic Plus Dungeon Invitational, whatever, which is what Blizzard does. It's like the competitive version of Mythic Plus. You get like some tough affixes to the dungeon, which makes things be really, really hard, and then you put like the best people doing that dungeon.
Odds with their friends, and to really make their mark on the community. The greatest rewards in Fellowship come to the players who are willing to opt in to the most challenging content. That means specifically choosing to, with your party, take on multiple dungeon modifiers at a time. In addition to the standard scaling of our dungeons, we also want to make sure that there are these added layers that don't just change the numbers of, oh, I need to hit him with a bigger stick. Now, I need to move out of the way as a giant fireball rains from the sky. Or now freezing winds are blowing everybody off towards the edge of the map, things that change gameplay. When players enter a dungeon, they've got 3 goals to keep in mind. 1, they gotta kill all the bosses. Then, they have to make sure that the kill score is absolutely filled by killing enough of the enemies in the dungeon.
Dude, this is literally Mythic Plus. I'm not sure how I feel about this last part that he talked about.
They've got 3 goals to keep in mind.
Like, listen.
1, they gotta kill all the bosses.
Kill all the bosses?
Then, they have to make sure that the kill score is absolutely filled by killing enough of the enemies in the dungeon.
The kill score is absolutely filled by killing enough of the enemies in the dungeon. So this is actually one of the aspects of Mythic Plus that annoys me a little bit, because what ends up happening when you have a situation like this, for those of you that are not familiar with Mythic Plus, the idea is that you need to not only kill all the bosses, but you also need to kill a certain amount of trash. Now, the problem with this is, like, you can just advance and kill all the trash along your way, but that's not going to be optimal. And at a certain point, in Mythic Plus, you have to time keys, which I'm assuming that's not going to be a mechanic here unless it's maybe in ranked or something like that. But in here, it just seems like it's going to be speed running. So you want to go through these dungeons as fast and as efficiently as possible, right? And so the problem with this, and this is one of the things that is kind of like annoying to me, is that what ends up happening is that depending on the affixes that you have for a dungeon, there's going to be a preset path that is going to be the best way of doing the dungeon. And if you're just rushing through and you're trying to skip certain mob packs, because, you know, if you the only thing that matters is speed, you want to skip as many mob packs as you possibly can, you can end up in a situation where you kill all the bosses and then it's like, oh crap, we're missing like, I don't know, 10% or 20%, depending on how much you skipped. So now you have to go back and start killing all of that trash that you skipped. And it's like, I get it that this can be an interesting mechanic if all you do is play this game and you're like, oh, I'm gonna memorize all of the things, which is what I used to do back when I played Mythic Plus, is like you would memorize the routes. Like, you know, okay, I go here, I pull this, I go here, I pull this, I go there. And this again creates an environment where if somebody is used to a certain route and you as a tank do something a little bit different than what they expected, they're like, what the hell, bro? That's the wrong pack. You can't be pulling that pack. It's gonna waste our time. You know, it's like, I don't know. I feel like there might be more interesting ways of doing things than this kill score thing. But I understand that if people are coming in from a Mythic Plus, because like this straight up, the thing that they're describing is straight up World of Warcraft Mythic Plus. It's all it is. And it's my favorite thing to do in World of Warcraft. So I'm kind of very interested, but I need to see more about this kill score thing, because that is one of the features that I'm not super happy about. I would actually prefer it if they would just force you to kill all the trash. You have to kill all the bosses and all the trash. I would prefer that, but I understand that that also removes a little bit of skill expression because there is the whole skill of like, oh, I do the route properly. It's just, I don't think that memorizing routes is an interesting gameplay mechanic. I wish there was some other system that was better.
And then lastly, they need to make sure that we're doing all of that in the allotted time. So for our
there is a
dungeons,
time
it's
limit.
about 30 minutes, and for our adventure dungeons, we're looking at 10 minutes. The enemies in Fellowship are challenging.
10 minutes? 10 minutes is very short. That's very short for a dungeon. Especially because adventure mode is like the casual mode. So ranked dungeons, you get 30 minutes, but then regular dungeon, that's a little bit weird.
And that means that players are going to have to rely on the Holy Trinity, tank, healer, and DPS in order to overcome these challenges. Each role is necessary to succeed, with each having a distinct role to play.
Each role is necessary to succeed right now, as we're figuring things out. Because when players figure shit out, dude, it's going to be like, nah, we're just going to go, 3 DPS and a healer. We're going to if you get a DPSer in there that's tanky enough, you better believe that's exactly what players are going to do.
So when we created our roster of
Or
heroes,
5
it was really
DPS.
important that each hero feels unique to Fellowship, while still being recognizable for people that have played thousands of hours in similar games. So we've got this one hero called Rhyme, and she's got this very bursty and procky rhythm to her gameplay. She's not very cooldown reliant at all. Instead, she has a very steady build-up to constant payoffs that will feel really explosive and flashy. With Warmaster, you've got a tank that should feel like home, and it's super easy to pick up. She also has a toughness mechanic where more advanced players will be able to min-max their damage mitigation and cooldown reduction. Fellowship is going to be a constantly evolving adventure that will be built to last for a really long time, and we're so excited to have the players be part of that development journey with us. We've got heaps of content planned for Fellowship, and there's going to be a lot more to talk about really, really soon. But to start your adventure with Fellowship, make sure to sign up for our closed alpha, starting really soon.
Okay, I'm curious. Sign up for closed alpha, available August 15th to 20th. Now, it is important to mention, I was looking some stuff up in regards to the game. It is important to mention there's already another game on Steam called Fellowship, and it is not this game. They should have looked up names before they went off with this name. But yeah, there's another game that's called literally just Fellowship, and it's kind of like a Vampire Survivors type of game. So keep that in mind if you're looking through Steam and you find this one and you're like, oh, this doesn't look at all like the thing Rurikhan was showing me. Yeah, that's because this name already exists, but they're both on Steam. So here you have the actual game that we're talking about, and this is probably the video that we were just watching, I would assume. Yeah, this is the video that we were just watching. So, but yeah, this thing is on Steam, and I'm curious. They also have a website in here. This is where you can sign up for their alpha and stuff. And in here, they give you a couple more descriptions of stuff. A multiplayer online dungeon adventure, which is what they're calling it, a MODA, set in an exciting fantasy setting with endlessly scaling dungeon runs. Players must focus on working together as a team with an emphasis on skill, cooperation, and strategy to defeat bosses, collect loot, and work together to overcome ever-present challenges. Now, they're saying that they're going to be using the Holy Trinity, tanks, healers, and damage dealers. This is going to require a significant effort of balancing on their part because, like I said, it does seem like they are a bit of a smaller company since they have their game director also being their CEO. But yeah, the reason why this is so important to balance is because, like, look, players that enjoy Mythic plus type of playstyle, like I'll just say it, we're complete degenerates, okay? It's like if we can optimize something to the point where it's absolute degeneracy, like if we can get away with running 4 DPSers, that's what people are going to do. If we can cheese a mechanic running with 4 tanks, that's what people are going to do. If we find out that there's a healer that deals ridiculous amounts of burst damage, that's the healer that everybody's going to be running, and they'll just run 4 healers if they can get away with it. So I'm assuming they're going to be doing stuff to be able to balance this stuff around. They kind of have to. But yeah, this becomes the challenge. And because they have these hero type characters, which we can actually see in the video, I think they show that off close to the beginning here. Yeah, you guys can see that there's like, is it here?
As you level up, you'll also unlock.
I had just seen it. Ah, there it is. So, as you guys can see, there's this list of characters. Come on. Just saw it. Stop teasing me. Right here. There's this list of characters, and it looks like we have the War Master, then there's some type of monk type character, and then there's 5 DPSers and 2 healers so far, one of which happens to be a dwarf. And basically, with a game like this, you're not going to be creating your own character. These are going to be pre-made heroes, and probably one of the monetization aspects that they're going to have to the game is going to be different skins for the characters and all of that type of stuff, which means that these are going to be like pre-built, but I'm assuming that you'll be able to choose like some type of build or something like that for skill expression, but we'll see how this plays out. I'm assuming that their plan is going to be release new characters over, as the game evolves. That would appear to be like a business model that they can do. This game is going to be premium, so it is not going to be free to play. They're saying it is going to be a premium priced game, but I'm wondering how they'll do this because they already said that they're doing seasons and stuff like that. So yeah, it says here, gather your perfect team, play alongside your friends in teams of 4-player co-op multiplayer in a rich fantasy world full of challenging enemies and exciting rewards. Swap between a large pool of tank, healer, and DPS roles with unique kits to build a perfect balance for your team. They also have to do some kind of matchmaking because I assume that not everybody's just going to have 3 friends that they can get together. I mean, they do have a Discord. Maybe they're expecting people in the beginning to go to the Discord and organize themselves that way. Everyone will feel like a brand new challenge with dungeons that will get more difficulty. More difficult as players progress and level up. Players will never out-level the game with seasonal updates, dungeon modifiers, so they even have affixes, basically new features and rewards that will keep each run fresh and exciting, adding another layer of replayability. Complex boss mechanics. Each boss has unique and varied mechanics for a fresh experience every run. Enemy skills grow as difficulty increases, and additional modifiers continue to challenge players as they grow and improve. So it's basically just the Mythic Plus aspect of World of Warcraft. It seems interesting. The biggest things that I would point out right now is that the animations are still looking rough. This is an early alpha build. This is the first time that we're looking at the game. But, I'm very much into fluid animations that convey weight and stuff like that. And this feels much more like old World of Warcraft, not even like more recent World of Warcraft, because more recent kind of feel like has a little bit better animations. But one of the important things that this does is it appears to convey clearly, like when you have telegraphs, what the enemies are doing and all that stuff, which is much more important. So I'll be curious to see. There's going to be a closed beta, but I think that they don't allow you to stream or record that closed beta, but I'll probably be able to talk about it. So I signed up for not a beta, closed alpha. So I signed up for the closed alpha. I don't know if I'll be accepted or whatever, but sounds interesting. I think it'd actually be cool if I could get one of the devs on the podcast to talk about the game, to see what their design philosophy is around like loot and, potential catch-up mechanics for people that join in way later. I'm not saying that it needs to. If the game is properly planned out, won't need catch-up mechanics if they reward players for going back and doing like earlier level dungeons, stuff like that. We'll have to see how that pans out, but I'm definitely curious. I'm intrigued. This will be one to keep our eyes on. What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay strong. Stay safe. Peace out.